it was days before the Olympics started, and you asked me, you said, "Are you excited for the Olympics?" And I said, "No, I couldn't even be less interested." And it was true. I was not interested at all. I hadn't seen a lot of marketing for it. I hadn't seen a lot of advertising for it, and I'm a pretty heavy media consumer guy, and just didn't it didn't even really register with me. Like, I didn't know any of the players, and usually the TV has, they tell you the stories of the athletes and where they come from and their hometown and the whole thing. And I was kind of into that, and that would get me excited for following some of the players and the Olympians through their goals and stuff. And so this year I turned it on, started watching it, watched the opening ceremony, and it was nice. It was lovely. And I was like, okay. And then I started watching it. And then basically through TikTok and other social media, I started getting myself introduced. Leanna Mayer, and so many of the pommel horse guy, I can't remember his name, but the pommel horse guy who was like the specialist who would come in and who basically brought them gold. And all of their TikToks, their sort of self-created influencer content was great. It was so good. It was so wonderful. And it got me totally invested. And then as I started getting invested in watching the women's rugby team, I watched the men's rugby team. I watched then, the swimming. And I have to say, this Olympics has been my favorite Olympics in, I can't even imagine how long, because I got invested in it. And it was really fun to see and hear real stories coming out of social media that were fun and heartwarming and also funny and engaging. And I thought it was just a great experience. So it's a big rave for me.
It's really, I'm impressed with what NBC did initially to recruit. They recruited 27 pretty decent creators on 4 different platforms to do from that standpoint. But then also these athletes are all savvy creators themselves.
Yeah.
And they're all just telling their stories. They're here. The one guy that's loved the muffins that every morning would share those different muffins in the thing. And the other one talking about, here's where I have to sleep every night, and just telling those. And that's the thing I want for the Army. Like, tell those stories. This is cramped. This is tough. It's whatever. It gets people involved in it. They're real life stories. And you can empathize with those. And anyways, I just thought that they've done such a great job. I agree with you. I've heard so many more people. And I think the difference in a lot of cases is in the 2020 Olympics, which happened in 2021, there were no audiences, and you didn't have all those creators there.
Right. That's right.
You didn't have the level up that you've seen in content creation that you do from the Olympians this year that you did 3 years ago. Yeah. So I can only imagine that this is going to keep escalating, where you have more and more. And it's funny, like, you probably saw something on TikTok, and then I don't know, are you watching it on Peacock, or are you just watching it on your phone? Like, are you watching the things on?
We watch it on, we're watching it at night on NBC typically. Yeah.
Wrap up. So so social is moving you to television.
Yeah.
It's interesting the way that works, and vice versa, and they play off each other.